It's Monday, April 27th. In the headlines, Jamaica Teachers Association calls black protest as frustration grows over compensation talks. In business news, Jamaicans abroad increased remittance flows in February. Regionally, Guyana denies registry of a seized tanker as the U.S. targets sanctioned Iranian oil trade. And in sports, Jamaican swim star Alia Atkinson to lead talks at Aruba Sports Conference. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Teachers across Jamaica are set to wear black on Monday and Tuesday in protest over what the Jamaica Teachers Association describes as ongoing neglect and delays in resolving key compensation issues. In a statement on Sunday, the JTA pointed to growing frustration among educators, citing exhaustion and impatience stemming from a prolonged negotiation process that it says has tested teachers' sense of worth and professional dignity. The association maintains that its demands are justified and pledged to continue advocating firmly on behalf of its members. JTA President Mark Malava says the dispute goes beyond wages, framing it as a matter of social justice aimed at addressing long-standing inequities and ensuring teachers are properly valued for their role in national development. The association confirmed that the Ministry of Finance has scheduled a meeting for Tuesday to continue negotiations. Key issues include unresolved claims such as graduate allowance and other matters affecting teachers' welfare and compensation. However, the JTA notes that there has been a little meaningful progress to date despite ongoing discussions. While urging members to remain patient ahead of the meeting, the JTA is also calling on teachers to stay vigilant. It's warning that if significant progress is not made, particularly on major claims, members will be asked to determine the next course of action following Tuesday's talks. The Island Traffic Authority, ITA, is reporting a decline in road fatalities and crashes for the first quarter of 2026, despite urging continued caution. According to the ITA, 62 people were killed in 55 fatal crashes up to March 31. This represents a 33% reduction in fatalities and a 35% decline in fatal crashes compared to the same period last year. While the figures signal a positive start to the year, the authority projects a more modest overall improvement, estimating that road deaths could decrease by about 4% for the 2026 relative to 2025. Dante Matthews is the manager for corporate communications and public relations at the Island Traffic Authority. Jamaicans are invited to attend an intellectual property forum at the Police Officers Club today as part of the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office's week-long IP awareness campaign. JIPRO celebrated World Intellectual Property IP Day on April 26 with a focus on IP and sports, ready, set, innovate, highlighting the connection between intellectual property and the sports industry. Speaking at a recent JIS think tank, Executive Director of the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, JIPO, Lily Claire Bellamy, explains that the week-long celebration underscores the critical role of innovation in enhancing athletic performance, advancing sports technology, and driving growth in the creative industries.
When you go in the supermarket, you're not seeing the person who has produced the goods. What you see is a brand. And so you take up based on that brand. So in the same thing, if you're buying a sports and an energy drink, you go behind the reputation. So I might come up with an energy drink, okay? But nobody knows me. So they're not going to buy my energy drink, but they will buy the energy drink from a reputation, from a brand that they know is an authentic brand. So that's the power of the brand.
In the evening, the focus will shift outdoors to Emancipation Park for an interactive wellness session themed Fit for the Game. On Tuesday, April 28th, an online webinar will begin at 10 a.m. under the theme Own Your Game.
In the same breath as we celebrate IP and sports, trademark is very important. So even the gear that you wear, even the shoes that you wear, you will see the logo on those items or clothing that you wear. And so we want to encourage persons to join us online for those webinars where you will learn more about the basics of these industrial properties. You learn about design, the design of your shoes, how it can be protected, the design of the jersey that the athletes wear. So it is so important. IP is everywhere. So we see it on the track when you press the stopwatch, when the persons are drinking their starters button, they're running, everything, there is IP. The stadium, the design of the chairs. So intellectual property and sports have a nice intersection, and this year we are so happy to share.
On Wednesday, April 29, Jaipur will host its flagship symposium at University of Technology, Jamaica. Deputy Director and Legal Counsel at Jaipur, Chantal English Richards, says beyond the digital discussion, Jaipur is also placing strong emphasis on youth engagement and literacy.
So in addition to World Book and Copyright Day, we also participate in Read Across Jamaica Day. And we want to highlight the fact that when you read, you are reading about and learning about different cultures, different ideas, and reading takes you around the world. So there are many places that you probably have not traveled to, but when you open the book, there are so many things that you can learn. And so we want to encourage everyone in Jamaica, starting at the very basic level, to read.
The week's formal activities will conclude on Friday, May 1, with a 10 a.m. webinar titled Engineered to Win: Innovation, Patents and Performance. This session will delve into the role of patents and innovation in enhancing athletic performance and advancing sports technology. In the age of artificial intelligence, seeing is no longer believing. A new public education push is warning Jamaicans about the growing threat of deep fake videos, highly realistic clips that can make anyone appear to say or do things they never did. This Unmasking the AI feature is urging viewers across Jamaica to learn how these digital fakes are created and, more importantly, how to spot them before misinformation spreads.
Before we get into the meat of the matter, let us first get some definitions out of the way. Artificial intelligence, AI. I'm sure you've heard this quite frequently over the last couple of months. Now, this refers to computer systems designed to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, such as learning, problem solving, speech recognition, and of course, decision making. For example, a streaming platform recommending movies based on what you've previously watched. Neural networks. Now, these are computing systems inspired by the human brain that helps AI recognize patterns, make predictions, and generate realistic outputs. For example, photo apps that automatically enhance lighting or remove blur. Generative AI refers to AI systems that can create new content, such as text, images, music, or videos based on patterns learned from existing data. For example, AI tools that write essays or social media captions. Datasets. Now, these are large collections of information used to train AI systems so that they can learn how to perform specific tasks. For example, collections of written articles used to to train AI writing tools. Lastly, deepfakes. Now, these are synthetic media created using AI to manipulate or generate visual and audio content, making it appear that a person said or did something they never actually did. For example, a fake video showing a public figure making a statement they never actually made. And of course, for further research, you may look into machine learning, ML, and deep learning. Understanding these terms will help provide the foundation needed to explore how AI and deepfakes are created, how they are used, and the ethical and social issues.
Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing you the developments shaping markets, capital access, and business decision-making across Jamaica and the region. Let's get into the stories that matter. The Bank of Jamaica says that net remittances, the difference between foreign exchange sent back by Jamaicans living and working abroad and that sent out by Jamaicans, rose by 3.8% to US $247.6 million in February of this year. The central bank says this is due to an increase of US $8.8 million in inflows and reduction of US $200,000 in outflows. The Bank of Jamaica also stressed that most of the inflows came in through remittance companies. The bank also indicated that the total remittance inflow for January and February amounted to US $542 million, an increase of 4.2% when compared to the same period of last year. The Bank of Jamaica says the United States remains the main source of remittances flowing into the country. According to the central bank, 68% of funds sent home in February came from the US. Below it, similar shares came from the United Kingdom, Canada, and the Cayman Islands. A study conducted by MasterCard recently indicated that Jamaica has only 11 point-of-sale terminals for every 1,000 persons, and only 8% of the country's merchants have point-of-sale machines. The study revealed that 72% of all transactions in Jamaica are done in cash in the formal and informal sectors of the economy, although this reduces efficiency and limits the expansion of businesses. MasterCard's country manager for Jamaica, Dalton Fowles, says there's a big opportunity to expand the country's digital payment system. He also stressed that closing these digital payment gaps would allow businesses to reach more customers and to operate more efficiently. For the trading period of April 24, 2026, the most actively traded securities were Wigton Energy Limited with 4,088,355 units, or 22.14% of market sales activities. Kentire Holdings Jamaica Limited with 1,999,201 units, representing 10.82% of market sales activities. Trans Jamaica Highway Limited with 1,987,203 units, representing 10.76% of market sales activities. Investor activities remain concentrated in solar energy, transportation and distribution plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market based on Bank of Jamaica data for April 24, 2026. Forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. For the US dollar, trading margins reflected steady liquidity, with the US selling at $156.65 and buying at $157.52. For the Canadian dollar, moderate gains supported by $1.87 transaction spreads The Canadian dollar sold for $114.90 and was bought for $113.03. For the British pound, continued volatility offered short-term trading opportunities of 37 cents in profits for the banks. The British pound sold for $212.08 and was bought for $211.71. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing for currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. For our credit report tip of the day, retirement is often framed as a finish line. But for many individuals, especially those entering their 70s and beyond, it's less about stopping, and retirement is more about transitioning into a different financial rhythm, one that still requires strategy, awareness, and informed decision making. A common question that arises during this stage is, does my credit report still matter? Well, the short answer is if you're in your 70s, your credit report does still matter, but very differently. By the time you reach 70 plus, your financial priorities have likely shifted. Income may come from pension, investment, or social support systems rather than active employment. Ideally, major debts like mortgages or business loans have already been managed. However, your credit report still plays a quiet but important role in several areas. One, you may need access to emergency financing. Second, in some markets, insurance companies use credit-based scoring to price your insurance. And third, downsizing or relocating or transitioning into assisted living may require background financial checks. And fourth and final, older adults are increasingly targeted for financial fraud. So monitoring your credit report becomes less about borrowing and more about protection. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing clarity to capital markets and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.
In regional news, the United States Department of Defense has confirmed the seizure of an oil tanker accused of transporting sanctioned Iranian crude. But the vessel is now at the center of a flag fraud controversy in the Caribbean. Authorities in Guyana say the ship, known as Majestic X, is falsely flying their flag and is not registered in the country. In a statement, the Guyana Maritime Administration Department says there is no record of the tanker under its current or former name, and that the matter has been reported to global regulators, including the International Maritime Organization.
The United States Department of Defense confirmed that its forces intercepted and seized oil tanker Majestic X, which was allegedly transporting Iranian crude oil in violation of U.S. sanctions. The vessel had previously been sanctioned in 2024 under the name Phoenix. However, in a swift response, Guyana's Maritime Administration Department, MARAD, says the ship is not registered in Guyana and is fraudulently flying the country's flag. In a statement issued Thursday, MARAD made it clear that there is no record of the vessel under either name in Guyana's ship registry. The agency explained that while the vessel's name has been changed, its International Maritime Organization number remains linked to its previously sanctioned identity. MARAD emphasized that Guyana operates a closed ship registry, meaning only vessels owned by Guyanese nationals, CARICOM citizens, or locally established entities are eligible for registration. According to the agency, the purported owners of the Majestic X do not meet these criteria. Authorities also revealed that fraudulent use of Guyana's flag by foreign vessels has been an ongoing issue since 2021, with similar cases reported internationally. The matter has been flagged to global maritime bodies, including the International Maritime Organization. The seizure forms part of a broader U.S. crackdown on vessels accused of facilitating the transport of sanctioned Iranian oil. There has been no indication yet as to who owns the vessel or what further legal action may follow. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
United National Congress Deputy Political Leader and Minister of Energy and Energy Industries, Dr. Rudal Munlal, says brighter days are ahead for Trinidad and Tobago's energy sector. Speaking during the UNC Congress and anniversary celebrations on Saturday, Minister Munilal recounted several key developments in the last 12 months under the UNC administration. Ayana Carter has the details.
In America, Donald Trump told his people, drill. You hear that? Drill, baby, drill. In Trinidad, we say, keep it pumping. We will keep it pumping to raise to 70,000 barrels in 2028.
Minister of Energy and Energy Industries Dr. Rudal Munilal said Trinidad and Tobago will see the fruits of an energy sector that has been turned around. Speaking to party supporters on Saturday at the UNC Congress and anniversary celebrations, Minister Munilal called the last 12 months in office challenging. However, with a mandate to increase oil production made clear by Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar, he and Minister in the Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries, Ernesto Kiza, worked assiduously to make this happen.
We were both mandated by the Honourable Prime Minister 1 year ago to increase oil and gas production after almost 10 years of decline. Brothers and sisters, we can declare now that we have done it. We did it together, working for you.
He outlined that in 12 months, the industry has recorded evidence of their hard work and persistence.
In 2024, oil production had decreased to 50,000 barrels per day. 50,000. Today, in April 2026, now we are up to 56,000 barrels per day, an increase of 5,000 barrels per day since your UNC government took office.
The Energy Minister said the future is bright for the industry.
Oil production is forecast to increase to 60,000 barrels by the end of this year, with major projects from EOG, BP, Perenco, and Heritage Offshore, sending the figure in terms of oil production to 70,000 barrels a day in 2028.
Dr. Munilal noted that with the gas sector on a growth plan and 11 major gas projects expected to see great returns by the end of 2026, the country is poised for a booming energy sector. Ayana Carter, TTT News.
In St. Lucia, the government is moving to strengthen support for persons with disabilities, with plans for a national disability registry, a prosthetic center, and stronger accessibility standards. The measures were outlined by Minister for Persons with Disabilities, Jeremiah Norbert, during his contribution to the budget debate, as the Ministry for Persons with Disabilities pushes new initiatives aimed at improving safety, inclusion, and access across the country.
The Ministry for Persons with Disabilities will work to create a national disability registry to ensure that persons with disabilities are not left behind. These are some of the measures highlighted by the Minister responsible for persons with disabilities, Jeremiah Norbert, during his contribution to the appropriation bill debate on Friday. He cited an example, arguing that the registry will assist with guide policy and improve the targeting of resources, particularly during disasters.
And we are not involved in geotagging of individuals here. So I remember a particular instance where I was a police officer and there was a hurricane. I think that was 2011. It was Thomas, I think, the speaker. And a particular resident was left home by himself. He has mobility issues. And because there was no geotagging done and there was no registry to say that we have X, Y, and Z persons with X, Y, and Z disabilities in the community, when everyone evacuated, he was left behind. And it was only when everyone was there, they was just like Home Alone asking, where is Kevin, where is Kevin, where is Kevin, Mr. Speaker? Then they realizing, look, we're missing one individual. And unfortunately, this individual could not come by himself. We had to go back and get them. So what this disability registry do, it will help us, Mr. Speaker, eliminate problems like these.
Minister Norbert, who has a prosthetic limb due to a motorcycle accident, also revealed that work is well advanced on a national prosthetic center. He says this will help improve dignity and self-worth and allow individuals often forgotten to contribute to society.
And had the prosthetic center been commissioned already, I probably would just take a little drive, go across to Tapillon, Mr. Speaker, get a little modification done and come back to the house. But yesterday I had to leave the proceedings to go and check on my prosthetic. So, Mr. Speaker, when we establish this National Prosthetic Center, it's going to eliminate problems like this. The facility will be a game changer for many St. Lucians who require prosthetic limbs and related services. And I know that Mr. James himself can attest to that, Mr. Speaker, because part of feeling empowered as a person with a disability is being, when you have a prosthetic, Mr. Speaker, you feel empowered. Had I not had a prosthetic this morning, other arrangements would have to be made for me to be here today.
The budget also has allocations for making establishments more accessible and safer. The revision and modernization of the building code will ensure that accessibility standards are mandatory.
We really have to get to that point where we stop speaking about accessibility and making it a reality. And with every bit of fiber in me, Mr. Speaker, I will see to it that what is pronounced in the appropriation bill is not just a pronouncement, but it becomes a live reality. That we can actually make the city and communities more accessible for persons with disability, Mr. Speaker. So, as part of our legislative agenda, we will be reviewing, and I've said to AG that we will be reviewing the building code to ensure that when, especially now, Mr. Speaker, when we have so many buildings being built, we see construction booming. But I am of the firm belief that any building, unless it's your private home, any building that's going to be providing a public good or public service must be made accessible.
The appropriation also makes allocations for increased financial support to institutions and key agencies operating on the front line of disabilities. The government official asserted that the PA administration remains committed to empowering, alleviating the plight, and improving the quality of life of persons with disabilities via fairness, action, investment, and policy direction. Gina Filippi, HDS News Force.
In sports, celebrated Jamaican Olympian Alia Atkinson is set to headline the Women in Sport America's International Masterclass and Coaching Conference, scheduled for May 1 to 3 in Aruba. The conference is being staged under the aegis of several regional and international bodies, including the Aruba Paralympic Committee, Caribbean Adaptive Sports Alliance, Government of Aruba, America's Paralympic Committee, and its commercial arm, America's Parasports. Atkinson, widely regarded for her distinguished career in international swimming, will appear as a guest speaker at the event, where she is expected to share insights from her journey at the highest level of sport. And that's the news on PBCJ. Remember, we are the People's Station.